welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let's see who was here first. There's a new squad channel. Oh, sweet. Oh, well, we better put that at the top of the chat. Okay. Let me see if I can do that. Tell you what, put it up again. And let me try it because I don't see it on the other screen. But yeah, if you put that up again, then I can try it again. Thank you so much for that. Hello, Bunny Rose, Janine Bell, Judy Mutasid, and a host of friends and others. All right. Oh, I need slides, don't I? Okay. All right, slides are coming. Excuse me. All right. Slides are coming, and hello to everyone else that's here. All right. Okay, let me try that again. Okay, got it. Thank you very much. I have to check it out myself. There we go. Yeah, slides are up. So, the truth about Prince Harry's Hulu documentary, Spanish media doubles down. Bad news for King Charles III. And I do mean bad. We'll get to it, though. So, let's see if we can finish in like an hour. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the nice weather we had today. 68 degrees. Don't tell me global warming is not real. 68 degrees. There's something so wrong about that. Okay. Yeah, jealous. And aside from jealous, what's that other emotion that they seem to be most days? Oh, I know.
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter.
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. I'll say it. Bitter. By the way, you guys, I was looking at another chair, and shopping for another office chair is so difficult, but I'm narrowing it down. But the big mistake is when you start looking at some of the reviews, right? And I only had it for a week, and then this stopped working. It didn't come with all the screws. Half of the parts were sticking out of the box. But what I notice is sometimes I see the same review for a different chair, as though they lumped them all in together. So I'll narrow it down. You'll know I found something when you don't hear, this. When you stop hearing that, then you'll know I found something. Or if I'm doing Royal Sussex from the hospital, you'll know that I need something. So if I'm at the hospital doing Royal Sussex, then you'll know that I still need a chair. But but I'm going to narrow down my search very soon. It always takes me a long time to do things like that. The worst thing is to have a variety, right? If you have a lot to choose from, that only makes it that much worse. Okay, so there you go. Harry's Invictus documentary snub to Netflix chief. Disney-owned rival Hulu screens Duke's one of I'm sorry, one-off film where he talks about family despite his 5-year, $100 million contract with Netflix. The show called Prince Harry Mission uh, Life, yeah, Prince Harry's Mission Life, Family, and Invictus Games is based on a series of interviews from the 2023 games. A source at Netflix appeared to be taken aback by the news when contacted. That was a pregnant pause. That was a pregnant pause for effect. Um, that was a pregnant pause for effect. Um, huh? What? Oh, let's see. My lemon tablet for a refund. Oh, I hate taking stuff back. God, I hate taking stuff back. Hey, BS speaks royally. Yeah, but sometimes that means I went and got a cookie. There's a pregnant pause, and then there was a cookie run. But that one was actually a pregnant pause. Okay, so this is what they're talking about. Exclusive news live. Prince Harry's Mission, Life, Family, and Invictus Game streaming tonight. And you can see it says Hulu, Fire TV, Roku, whatever that other one is, Pluto, YouTube, what is that? Xumo, Tubi, and of course, ABC News. Well, that would be really compelling if it were true. But it's not true. This is not a documentary. How dare they? This is not a documentary. It's not a documentary. It's not a docu-series. It's just a news story that has been, I suppose, streamed on other platforms. That's it. This is not a proper documentary. They just took a conversation with Harry and some footage from other times and places and strung it together and called it a documentary. This is no more than watching 60 Minutes or 2020. This is no more than like watching a news magazine, except it doesn't come on every week. Don't those morons even realize that Prince Harry can't have more than one connection? I mean, can't have more than one connection. Like Tyler Perry writes for Netflix, BET, his studio, Paramount. There you go. Thank you, Joan Garcia. Um, I wouldn't dare call this a documentary. I suppose that one could try to, but it says there, Good Morning America and News ABC News Live exclusive. It's not some documentary. It's just like if you watch something on 2020 or 60 Minutes or any other, shall we call it a news magazine on television. Yeah, sometimes 60 Minutes will spend the entire hour talking about one topic, one subject, or one person, or whatever. But they never call it a documentary. They never say, tune in to 60 Minutes this week for a documentary. So I don't know what's in it for them aside from clickbait that they would try to build up this big lie about Harry going and sneaking around and doing like some kind of bootleg. He didn't even. Harry's not the producer of this. He hasn't produced this thing. He's not a. The only contribution that he's making is that he's. Well, let me stop because I didn't see the credits of it, but whatever. I mean, yes, some of the footage, I'm sure it came from the, archives of Archwell, Archwell production. I'm sure there might be something in there from them, but these people, these people, and see, this is that very fine line. When are we doing their work for them by perpetuating this nonsense? And then when are we trying to explain to people who don't know the difference that this is a lie? That's the problem. Is that in talking about it, you somehow perpetuate it. But I guess the only hope is that a Sussex friendly space might be available for someone who gravitates toward believing everything that they read from the tabloid, from the mass media or whatever you want to call it. They tend to believe whatever they say, and they don't know that there's spaces like this where we can, rebuff some of that nonsense. But this is just clearly clickbait. There's no truth to it whatsoever. And even if, as Joan Garcia says, Harry can have more than one connection. He can write for other people. He can work for other people. I don't know that anything was exclusively this or exclusively that. And the whole point of the Invictus game with these interviews is to make sure as many people know about it as possible. The only reason why Harry invites the press to come along, including that lady that you all said was triggering last week, the one that was kind of blushing when she was talking about Harry. The only reason why he has those people around is for the games, not for himself. He'd rather not bother. He invites them for the game. It's for the athletes. And that is the trade-off. If you open up these spaces for us, we will help you promote your event. But we may want to ask you a couple of questions. And so, okay, agreed. Again, here in the US, on most occasions, they do not pay people for interviews. They do not pay people for their eyewitness accounts. However, if you go to New York for Good Morning America, you are going to have a nice posh hotel room. You're going to have a per diem so you can buy food and take in some sights and all those kind of things. That they will do. But, paying you for your comments about something, they generally do not do that. Lex says they should try keeping up with those deadly sins, which are the British royal family. PFC Sloth's envy is still angry. They're keeping lust out of sight, etc. Envy and lust. I love that. Thank you so much, Legs. Envy and lust. Andrea Dawkins says, I've noticed that the Spanish reporter is saying more and also saying there's a lot more they can't say, but the palace is silent. They can't sue for defamation if it's true. And I bet they wouldn't or would if they could. They wouldn't if they could, or they would if they could. Oh, probably would if they could, right? But yeah, we're definitely going to get to that. Let me see here. Yeah, Netflix doesn't have anything to do with GMA. But the thing that kind of bonds all of these interests together is that you certainly can go on Good Morning America to promote your Netflix series. I mean, they will interview people and tell you, if you want to see this, it's streaming on Netflix. They don't avoid mentioning other things, but Harry was not paid for this. I am more than certain about that. He was not paid for this interview, and that's all it was an interview. He spent some time with Will Reeves, and they spoke about the Invictus, and of course, like I said, part of the deal is we're going to ask you some questions, and also I'm sure Harry uh, will risk answering personal questions because if it's only about one thing, you gotta. Harry's a Hollywood producer now. He is a executive producer, and he knows what sells. And so, if people are going to want that human interest, um, especially when it comes to his family. And there's no big deal about talking about that. You just, as I'm sure I speak for everyone, we just hope that Harry always answers the questions in a way that it doesn't, cause problems later on where they can have like a whole weekend to lie about something or misrepresent his words in some kind of way. That's one of the things that I'm sure most people are nervous about anytime these things come up. So Will Reeves, his father, having been what is it, a quadriplegic? Is that what they call it when everything's like, um, paralyzed? Anyway, his father, eventually died from that accident. It took a while, but all of the research and everything that his father was responsible for, and of course he was so brave throughout the entire ordeal. Um, it was it opened a lot of people's eyes. So of course, I'm sure some people are not necessarily happy with Will, but he did his job. Harry answered the questions to the best of his ability. And remember, this is a new dawn, a new day for the Sussexes, and we can't keep trying to hide them or protect them from everything in this world. Um, they're going to have to make some, you know, mistakes along the way. As human beings, we will do that. You know, they have to get out there. They really have to get out. They have to be out there. So, and that's why I was saying this past week that I'm like rethinking my policy on what is considered a real paparazzi photo and what is not, because definitely anything like the whole like ambush thing, but lunch in an afternoon in Beverly Hills at a restaurant where you see them literally sitting on the curb, that one I'm going to have to give some consideration. But they're out there. They're working. They're networking. Um, they're doing what they need to do because this has got to be a good year for them. That's it. They have to have a good year. So I'm not saying it's make or break, but they anticipate having some projects out there, and we're going to be here for it. So and we're going to support them. Hmm. Okay. All right. So let me continue. All right. So please let this writer know that there is no Invictus documentary on Hulu. It is a 20-minute ABC News piece from earlier in the week. Please do not be like Allison. Please be responsible, fact checker. So Allison, was it Boshoff? Boshoff? Prince Harry's Invictus Games documentary drops on Hulu, despite the Duke of Sussex being under a 5-year, $100 million contract with rival Netflix. Um, oh yeah, same thing up there. But yeah, so unfortunately, there's likely not to be any repercussions for this. This person felt like putting that out there, and that's what they did, and that's all to it. Nothing to be done about it. I think it's reckless and irresponsible, but that's just my opinion. I thought it was reckless and irresponsible. It bears no resemblance to exactly what was put out there. 20-minute interview. And when I looked at it, I believe that there was another place where you could click, and next thing you know, Robert Jobson pops up, and then you click someplace else, and some other a hole pops up. It was unpleasant in those parts, but whatever. Whatever. Wait a minute. Is this something new that was hmm. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have been looking at the Twitter. Okay. Let's see. When he was 11, his mom, when he was 13. Yeah, there's a certain bond there with the loss of parents at young age. That's for sure. Thank you, Terry. uh, please, please, people, leave that man alone. Okay. Hey, Church Nelly. All right, let's move on here. So Harry's Invictus documentary. This is Rebecca English, snub to Netflix chief, Disney-owned rival Rebecca English. Surely you know better. Surely Rebecca English knows better. But that has never stopped her before. It's just amazing that people with that much responsibility, people who are so close to the royal family, they will start their day off quoting someone else or just making up things on their own. But it's not the truth. And I'm sure she knows it's not the truth. But she just says it anyway. It is not true. But of course, like I said, that never stops them. They just throw it out there. There we go. There's Rebecca English. That's Rebecca English. That's the one that seems to always, I guess you can say she's the closer. Sometimes she's the opener, sometimes she's the closer. But when there's something that they really need to get out there, meaning the royal family, they tend to. She's like the, what do you call it? She's the one who's like the grand poobah, the big chief over all of the royal rota. She's the one who just kind of coordinates all of that for the royal family, allegedly. But yeah, she coordinates the royal rota. She coordinates most of those royal reporters, especially when they're traveling. She will be the one to do that. Royals don't tend to visit each other in the hospital. So that was to help shape a narrative for the general public so that the side or of the story or the events as they unfold is told in a way that is complementary to the royal family or protects the royal family. She's very capable of that. But, you know, Jeannie Bond does that. All of these people, they have a job to do, and they tend to coordinate with the courtiers, allegedly, and of course, other members of the royal family to create a narrative that suits them, something that tells the story in a way that they choose to tell it instead of any like pretense of being objective. They just get the phone call, and if the story does not complement then it will disappear from the internet, which is why you have to do some screenshots. Because if you don't, then just like when they changed those tweets about Kate leaving the hospital, Dickie Arbiter took his down and put it back up. I think Omid Scobie just took it down completely and never put it back. So, yeah, those are the reasons why we keep receipts, because they'll change stuff. And that's why some of them have gone to those private Twitter accounts because of the way that they coordinate together. But it's all coordinated. Okay, so and over here, Marlene, is it Koenig? She says the Hulu piece on Harry, 20 minutes. Will Reeves talked with Harry about his father, relationship with William, the Invictus game, commentary from, let me see, is it by Queen Victoria and Robert Jobson? Okay, is that, I don't know who is Queen Vic. I don't know who that is. That must be a deranger or something. Footage from previous Invictus games, snippets from other interviews with Harry, and one with Michelle Obama, and a video with, okay, I didn't see the one with Michelle Obama. And that must have been the video with the Queen where they say send it or whatever. But yeah, so that's what made up this thing. It was not a proper documentary. And I don't need to tell you all that because you know better. But as you can see, that does not keep them from making up stuff. The whole point of it is to say that Harry is this rogue who has a contract with Netflix. And now the Netflix people are probably angry at him because he maliciously went behind their back and did something that he wasn't supposed to do. What a bunch of childish gossiping. I mean, this is just petty gossip. TMCD, I'm having problems commenting in the live chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hopefully you are still. Make sure that you're logged in to the YouTube. Make sure you haven't logged yourself out. And also, I'm hoping that you didn't like. Let me see. You have a membership. Yeah, I couldn't explain what happened. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. Anyway, I'm sorry that happened, but I don't know.
What's the ratio of uploading?
I don't know what that could be. So yeah, but anyway, good luck. Good luck with that. I hope whatever it is works out. But you know what? Let me ask you guys this:
Long form versus short.
Have you all? What you're hearing right now is the problem that I've been having. Have you all?
When you're starting out, for most people,
Oh,
1 a week is great. When it comes to
okay. This is what I was about to say. Have you had a problem where you watch a video one day and next thing you know, you find out that you're subscribed to a channel that you never subscribed to? And that's what just popped up on my phone. That is driving me crazy. And I'm like, I know I did not subscribe to that channel, but yet, for whatever reason, it appears as though I'm a subscriber. So that has been my little weird thing with the YouTube. But yeah, TMCD, thank you for letting me know. And if you still have a problem with that, remind me about it and I'll see if I can fix it for you. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me know. And thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, that's happened to you too? Yeah. And I'm just like, I didn't subscribe to that putz. I don't even like this person. And then I find out I'm subscribed. I don't like that. It's intrusive. There's enough stuff coming in on my phone. I don't need any other alert popping up. I have turned off a bunch of alerts on my phone, things that that I don't need. I have just turned off the alerts. So if for whatever reason they think I want their ads or whatever, then they won't come through. I only have things that I really need as an alert. But yeah, that's very intrusive. And I think it eats up your phone battery too when you have too many of those alerts. But okay, moving on. So Harry and Will Reed's talk with athletes and Whistler. A clip from the Netflix doc Harry and Reeves goes down the skeleton track. This is not a documentary. It is a 20-minute ABC News piece. People have been trying to explain this all day on the Twitter, and it's just a very useless distraction. Let me repeat, this is a 20-minute ABC News piece. If you're reading a British tabloid, Daily Express, Mirror, Daily, you see how many people picked up that story? They are describing it as a documentary. They are lying. It is a 20-minute piece from ABC News. Darn it. They're about to make me cuss. Who the heck is Queen Vic? Oh, well, I don't care. But yeah, this was from ABC News, not Hulu. Again, this was from ABC News, not Hulu. I'm sure we all got it by now, but ABC and Hulu have the same owner, and the interview is on Hulu. That's where I just watched it. So, as I said before, it is on multiple platforms for streaming, not just Hulu. But they chose Hulu and called it a documentary, probably just because it's Hulu. So please let this writer know. We talked about that earlier. Okay. So anyway, let's move on from all of this nonsense. Now, there are two very frightened people right there. One of them is Richard Eaton, and the other is Sarah Vine. They are terrified, and I'll tell you why. They are absolutely terrified. I'm going to get the sound bite so you guys can hear it for yourselves. And then you will know what is keeping them up at night. You will know what keeps them up at night. Okay. Okay. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Okay. Huh. Oh, I was about to say, how come there's no sound?
Must admit, sends a sort of shiver down my spine because.
Okay, let me try this again.
Does mean, yes, that he's travelling, each week there and back, and I hear it's generally by a helicopter, which I must admit sends a sort of shiver down my spine because helicopters are very really dangerous. It doesn't matter if you're the king or not, but it's a very dangerous thing, and it's not just the king; it's also William, Catherine, and their whole family do travel, from what I've heard, together in a helicopter to Sandringham when they go to Animal Hall for their weekends away or their week away for half term. And that does worry me. I think Queen Elizabeth was always very nervous about, in the case of Prince George, Prince William, you've got two future kings traveling together. Personally, I think Queen Elizabeth always wanted to make sure you've got to travel separately.
That's a very good point, because of course the thing is, the person waiting in the wings were things to go catastrophically wrong in a helicopter would be Harry.
Yes. Now you see why they're afraid, because the person waiting in the wings would be Harry. If something goes catastrophically wrong, the person waiting in the wings would be Harry. TMCD, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. But yes, the person waiting in the wings would be Harry. Well, let me just say this. Harry is not waiting in the wings. Harry is in the United States of America with his wife and children and his super cool mother-in-law. And of course, he keeps the company of some very important people in television production, also movie production and such. That's what he's doing with his time. He's not sitting around. He's not behind the hedges at one of the royal estates waiting to see what happens. Harry is working for a living. That's what he's doing. He's working. He's not living off of the public dole. And just because people keep uploading these AI images of Harry complete with crown and scepter and all that kind of stuff, be not dismayed. Let not your heart worry. Nothing's going to happen. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I'm sure all of that. The president of the United States flies in a helicopter. It's not so dangerous. They have protocols in case something happens. It's called hurry up and land right there. That's what they call it. They have those, those helicopters use jet engines, which are super reliable. And I mean, come on, what could possibly go wrong? If it's foggy outside, they don't fly, they drive, right? Or they stay home or whatever. So this is all a bunch of nonsense. And I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. Harry doesn't want that. And of course, there's not going to be Prince Archie, the Prince of Wales, or anything like that. None of that's going to happen. There won't be. Okay, I was trying to hold it as long as possible, but there's not going to be a Queen Meghan, the Queen consort. None of that is issue. I would say it's much to do about nothing. So um, keep flying, keep going, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what spares are for. In good times, in bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what spares are for. Yeah, that's what spares are for. So, in fog time, in snow drifts, high winds, all of that stuff. Those are, after all, the Queen purchased him an £8 million helicopter. It's super reliable. The Queen has flown in the helicopter herself. What are they worried about? What could possibly go wrong? They have the best pilots, the best weather. Okay, maybe not the best weather, but they have the best pilots. Willie Leaks is a pilot himself. And remember, they had a picture of Kate sitting in the helicopter. I bet she could take over with all the coordination she has. I'm sure she could take over. I mean, who's more coordinated than Kate Middleton, right? So if there's ever a need, she herself, I'm sure she's more than capable of moving over into the pilot seat or co-pilot seat herself. I mean, that's what they were trying to say before before she got sick. They wouldn't stop talking about Kate can. What is that? Remember that? Is there anything that Kate can't do? Remember that big headline? Is there anything Kate can't do? And I'm sure that as coordinated as she is, it wouldn't take anything for her to man one of those helicopters. So tell you what, why don't we have Will fly in one of them and put Kate in the other and let her fly it? Yeah, let her fly the other one. That way they can all get there at relatively the same time. But y'all stop tripping. There is not about to be a King Henry the ninth. Would it be Henry the ninth? Let's listen to that one more time. I want you to hear the desperation.
Does mean, yes, that he's travelling, each week there and back, and I hear it's generally by helicopter, which I must admit sends a sort of shiver down my spine because helicopters are very
Really
dangerous. It
dangerous,
doesn't
yeah.
matter if you're the king or not, but it's a very dangerous thing, and it's not just the king; it's also William, Catherine, and their whole family do travel, from what I've heard, together in a helicopter to Sandringham when they go to Animal Hall for their weekends away or their week away for half term. And that does worry me. I think Queen Elizabeth was always very nervous about,
Yeah.
in the case of Prince George, Prince William, you've got two future kings traveling together. Personally, I think Queen Elizabeth always wanted to make sure you've got to travel separately.
That's a very good point, because of course the thing is, the person waiting in the wings were things to go catastrophically wrong in a helicopter would be Harry.
Waiting in the wings? How dare you? How dare you? Waiting in the wings. He's not waiting in the wings. He's waiting in Montecito, where there are no leaks. That's where he's waiting. But there's not about to be a King Harry. Nothing's gonna happen. Just keep flying in good weather and bad. Just do you, boo. Don't you even worry about it. Right? Like Stevie Wonder say, don't you worry about a thing, mama. Don't you worry about a thing. Yeah, you don't worry, and I'll stop smiling thinking about it. Deborah Anderson, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thanks for watching Royal Sussex. Yeah, y'all stop worrying, and I'll stop thinking about it. Plus, I wouldn't want anything to happen to those babies because there's three other people ahead of Harry, and I definitely wouldn't want anything to happen to them. So this is all an exercise of futility. It's a bunch of what if ism and all that kind of stuff. All this talk of doom and gloom ain't nothing about to happen. That'd be like saying that after waiting 70 years to be on the throne that you okay, that's a bad example. That's a bad example. Let me think of something else. No, I don't really have anything else. But that'd be like saying that two adulterers could. Oh wait, that one's not good either. Let me think of something else. That would be just like saying, that one's no good either. I guess I better stop trying to think of things that should never happen or we thought would never happen, and then it did. So, oh, oh well. Sleep well, Richard Eaton. Sleep well, Sarah Vine. Sleep well. Nothing's gonna happen. So Prince William was surprised by success of Prince Harry's Invictus game. A degree of jealousy? I think so. Of course he's jealous. I mean, he didn't set up and pace the floor all night and everything, uh, gnashing his teeth and seething with jealousy. Of course he's jealous. He, meaning William, um, and not only William, but let me remind you all that Robert Jobson actually said that Invictus was probably not going to survive without the royal family. Yep, he thought they wouldn't survive without the royal family. Let's see. There was jealousy from Prince William over the success of Prince Harry's Invictus game, according to a British journalist. Yeah, and that, of course, being Robert Jobson, right? The ABC News special Prince Harry's Mission, Life, Family, and Invictus Games Now, I didn't hear Robert Jobson say it because when I saw Robert Jobson, I skipped right past it or cut it off or whatever because I didn't want to hear from Jobo. But now streaming on Hulu, use footage from the Duke of Sussex's recent interview with Good Morning America, Will Reeves, during his trip to Canada with Meghan from the Invictus Games 1 year countdown celebration with past sit down to explore the event's history as well as Harry's relationship with the royal family. Robert Jobson spoke about the adaptive sport competition for veterans and service personnel being the Duke of Sussex's #1 passion project. And I think this is a quote from Robert Jobson. Hold on, let me get into character. Okay, ready? It's been a successful since the onset, Jobson said. It doesn't. Okay, I'm not going to do that. It costs a lot of money, and he's been able to continue to raise that money throughout this period, which is impressive. But I think there's a degree of jealousy about how well it has gone. I do think rather, that William was surprised how much this has been such a success and how much money was being thrown into it and how many governments were getting involved, Jobson added. And I'm pretty sure one of the things that kind of shook them up. Do you guys remember? Oh, let me find the photo. I think it would be more dramatic if I find the photo and show it to you. I'm trying to remember what the headline was, but I'm going to show it to you. There is a photo that said it all. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Okay. Give me a second, you guys. I love it because it's in big, bold letters. And it says everything. It's in big, bold letters. Huh? Okay. It was from this past September. And I know I saved it. Didn't think about it until just now. But it is from Invictus. Can't remember the headline, but I know when I see it. Huh. Wait a minute. Okay, no. Let me try this again. That's better. That is better. Okay, this ain't working out. So much for dramatic, right? Okay, I'll just tell you what it was. Do you remember when they took that big photo? I still want to find that. They took that big photo with all of the oh God, those people were the chiefs of the NATO. The NATO, that's it. The NATO chiefs. That's the one that it was. It was NATO. Ha! There it is. Harry's power play. That's it right there. Harry's power play. That's what they called it. Harry's power play. I think that that's what shook them up. That is what shook them up, was that photo, because they had a big headline and they called it Harry's power play. Which, oh, no wonder I couldn't find it. I put the wrong label on it. But yeah, that's what they called it, Harry's power play. Okay, I see it. I'm going to show it to you. Give me a second. Shook them up, you guys. Shook them up. Okay, Harry's power play. All right, that's gone. Don't need that. Now, let me try this again. Yeah. Ha, there we go. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, I had mislabeled it. Harry and Meghan's Invictus power play. Sussex's decision to pose with NATO chiefs just days before William heads to talks with the United Nations in New York is latest stage of the PR battle between the two brothers, experts say. Huh? Pretty impressive, huh? There's Harry, there's Meghan, there's the NATO chiefs. And they were mad. Woo! They were mad. I mean, they were mad. They were so mad their drawers wasn't touching them nowhere. I mean, they were mad, just frothing at the mouth, pacing the floors. I'm pretty sure there was hell to pay if you worked at Kensington Palace that day. They were hot about that. Harry's power play. And just days before Willie Leaks went to New York. And what did William do? He went to New York and did his famous rinse and repeat. He did everything in New York that Harry had already done, including going to the firehouse, which was made famous from the 9/11 tragedy. He even went there. He made sure that he followed in his little brother's footsteps. He didn't do anything outside of something that Harry had already done. Harry had already made a name for himself in New York City not long after 9/11, but that did not stop William. He went, because when Harry went there was still, a big hole in the ground, right? He laid a wreath. He put a note of sympathy for the American people and the victims of 9/11, all of that stuff. Harry was a real statesman in his young 20s without even a beard. And what did Willie Leaks do? Willie Leaks went over there and followed in his little brother's footsteps. But this photo right here of Harry and Meghan and all of the NATO chiefs, Harry looking every bit the statesman. This was so jarring. Wait a minute. Take a look at that photo of William. Why did they choose that photo for that particular thing? But you know what? I saved this from that day. I saved this. Yes, Sharon Augustine. That was a mic drop if there ever was one. Now do you see why I wanted to share this with you? I knew, when this was what do you call it? When they posted that, I'm just like, oh, somebody mad. Somebody mad. Ooh, somebody mad. So, yes, William is so jealous. This is why he keeps getting in trouble, because he's so jealous. Is that his jacket, or is that something Philip left behind? I mean, look at how short the sleeves are. That was probably Philip's jacket. That's the jacket Philip wore when he T-boned that lady's car and broke her arm. He was wearing that jacket. I'm pretty sure if you empty the pockets, there's probably some little shards of like windshield or something in there. That's probably that jacket from when Philip smashed into that woman's car and broke her arm. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's pointing at a pulled pork sandwich. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably thinking about a pulled pork sandwich. He probably wasn't even thinking about Harry at that point. Probably worked up an appetite for some pulled pork. Lorna Williams says they were bragging that Earthshot got a $21 million contribution this year. When I looked into it, Willie Leaks contributed $8 million and Earthshot sponsors contributed $7 million. And that's good. Whatever they could do, because you know what? How much money do they spend promoting Earthshot? They spend a lot of money flying in celebrities and all that kind of stuff. They spend a lot of money promoting Earthshot. As a matter of fact, if they spend as much money handing out prizes as they have spent trying to fly David Beckham and all those other people, but they have a pretty high cost for the operations of Earthshot, like renting out Albert Hall or whatever they did that time. So, yeah, they spend a lot of money. They flew that green carpet. You know how they had to walk the green carpet instead of red carpet? They flew the carpet from the UK to Boston. They flew that carpet. And as far as I know, then they probably used it in wherever he went to, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Where did he go last time? But I hope they didn't send that garish green carpet over there too. But yeah, they're jealous. They are jealous, unable to sleep at night because they're jealous. Well, I tell you, when they posted that picture, that was my best day since Christmas. I promise you. I really, really enjoyed it. Harry's power play. Oh, man. Oh, well, too bad, Willie. You'll never amount to anything, ever. And what's really so shocking is that William has all the resources. He has a $1 billion fortune. He's the Prince of Wales. He's got so much going for him. He should be light years ahead of Harry. But the only thing that he doesn't have that Harry has is a personality. William does not have a personality, and he's not smart either. He's like a tree stump, something that otherwise should not be there. It's not bringing any shade. It's consuming the nutrients that should go to other plants. It should not be there. He's like a tree stump, something that is just an obstacle, right? Something that should have been either ground up or plucked out of the earth and discarded or used for mulch. But otherwise, there's no purpose for it. That's William, like an old tree stump. What do you do with it? Do you put like a flower pot on it? Well, what do you do with something like that? What do you do with Willie? The man who has only worked maybe 4 days in all of 2024. I think he's worked maybe 4 days, 3 or 4 days. Oh, well, nice work if you can get it, right? Jealous. Somebody's jealous, and they should be. Okay, where did I leave off? Prince William, King Charles, then known as the Prince of Wales, and other members of the royal family attended the first Invictus Games, which took place in London in 2014. Queen Elizabeth helped support the second cycle of the event, appearing in a comedic sketch with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama alongside her grandson. But in recent years, the royals haven't been involved in the event. Royal commentator, oh, that's Victoria Murphy. That's who they're talking about. Queen Vic, I think they're talking about Victoria Murphy, said on the ABC News special, Harry is no longer a working royal, and Victus no longer sits under the umbrella of organizations that the royal family officially are part of, and therefore they haven't mentioned it at all since Harry stepped down as a working royal. Is that the reason? Or is it because they are seething with jealousy, right? Is that the reason? Or perhaps it's because they're
bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Maybe it's because they're bitter, bitter, bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter.
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Right. That's what it is. It's not because it's not under the umbrella. I mean, when is supporting veterans and injured soldiers, when is that not under the umbrella? Right? Any democracy with a conscience should be supporting their veterans, not hiding from it because you're jealous, not hiding from it because it's not under the umbrella of things that the royals support. That doesn't make any sense. Now, bitter, 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 that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. If somebody is bitter, 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 bitter. Oh, man. But, okay, I'll do you one better. Let me see here. Do I still have that one? I know there's a blank screen, but I was looking for something. I do not. Oh, man. If I do, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, well. Okay, let me get this blank screen off of here. Is that it? No. Okay. Let's get back over here. Oh, Cheryl B., thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being here tonight. Greatly appreciate it. So one of the things that I noticed just before I came on, and I had to go ahead and grab some of these. Do you guys know that this is trending today? Did you all know this was trending? Everyone from Page 6 to Newsweek, everybody's talking about it. And everybody has photos of Harry and William looking all sour. Yep, there's lots of these photos of Harry and William looking all sour. because he is bitter, bitter, bitter. Yep. So, and if you Google William jealous or whatever, that is what you'll find is a bunch of stories about how he is jealous of his younger brother. So, just a reminder, some of the things that Jobo has written, Prince William has a notably short fuse, which let me see, in private and can sometimes be difficult to handle, a royal author has claimed. Journalist Robert Jobson writes that the Duke of Cambridge can be a bit of a shouter, and his temper can blow up at any time when the future king is frustrated or when an issue concerns his family. Insiders reportedly claim even William's senior aides will check which way the wind is blowing before asserting themselves around him or broaching subjects that may be problematic. In other words, he may allegedly be prone to violence, like when he attacked his younger brother, the one that he's so jealous of, right? Those occasions, he has proven to be rather violent. But yeah, Robert Jobson wrote a book about William, and can you believe he even wrote a book about the royal baby? Yeah, Our Royal Baby by novel. What is he? No, royal correspondent Robert Jobson, and there he is eating and drinking the king's, or at the time, the Prince of Wales' food. Yeah, they wine and dine these people, no objectivity whatsoever. Now, I'm pretty sure that the Our Royal Baby book has sold at least 10 copies, but it was so successful, you only heard of it just now. That's how successful it was. Robert Jobson has a string of books that have not gone far. He just writes books to satisfy the royal family. So imagine that book is probably just the royal family's official version that is, of the birth of Archie. And that's what these royal authors are there for, is they are given the official account of things according to the palace, right? So that way, whatever anybody else writes in the future, they will have something documented that says what they want you to hear. Let me see. Oh, I guess, was that it? Oh, surrounding the release of his memoir, Spare, last year, Prince Harry spoke with Good Morning America, Michael Strahan, about the rift. Okay, I don't care about that. I'm trying to get to the part of the jealousy. I guess maybe that was it. Yeah, they're not going to say too much about it. But anyway, that was about all we need to know, is that somebody else said it. We know it's true. William was not only jealous because it was successful, but he was jealous because it was Harry. That's it. He was jealous because it was Harry, and that he didn't think of it first, and that he doesn't get any of the applause for it. Harry had to go ahead and use the money without asking Willie first, because William would have tried to pour salt all over it. And then, of course, William even warned him, what are you going to do for the rest of the money? And Harry said, don't worry, I'll raise it. And not only did he raise it, he has kept it going for 10 years. 10 years. 2024 marks 10 years of Invictus Games. So William at 40, the story of the making of a monarch for the 21st century. Oh yeah, Robert Jobson wrote that. And also, just a reminder, Robert Jobson is the one who mentioned that Archie should be dangled over the balcony of Buckingham Palace. That is what he had to say about a child, is the child should be dangled like Michael Jackson. Yep, that was Robert Jobson. And of course, he was egged on by Emily Andrews, or as I like to say, send in the clowns. And for those of you who may not know Robert Jobson, let me see here. Let me give you a little sample.
Right in the book about when they try to force that Fab Four thing on us during the Queen's death, you know, that sort of fake walkabout when they're supposed to be together, that Kate said to another member of the royal family that it was one of the hardest things she ever had to do. Now, then immediately on Twitter you get all those Sussex troll idiots saying, well, you need to get out more if that's the hardest thing she ever done. You know, but, you know, the point of it is that it was a very difficult...
Kind of like Robert Jobson getting out of a Camaro. It may be the hardest thing. It'd be like Robert Jobson getting out of a Fiat. It could be one of the hardest things that someone ever had to do. Yeah, that's how difficult it is. It's like Robert Jobson getting out of a Fiat or out of a Ford Escort. No, a Ford Fiesta. Yes, that's it. It's as difficult. It was as difficult as Robert Jobson exiting a Ford Fiesta. Oh, man. I tell you, that doggone Sussex squad, you guys are notorious. You know that, don't you? You all are notorious.
Thomas, I wanted to ask you about these vile individuals who refer to themselves as the Sussex Squad.
So I come to my dad's house and start going through it, and I look on YouTube, and my God, I see the Sussex Squad and the Royal Sussex page on YouTube and the things they post, and that's where I found that disgusting video making fun of my father just because he's going to the Jubilee. I mean, and if you look on the Royal Sussex page on YouTube, you're going to see exactly whose it is. It's definitely Meghan Markle. And if it's not her personally, she's definitely paying somebody to do it.
Okay, I haven't shown that other one for a while. I just thought I would throw that in there. So, Ahmed Scobie, but I thought Omid was being a little shady. I must admit, I'm not sure I get it, but take a note, Omid Scobie. This is how you write a royal biography. And that was him responding to whatever Camilla Tominey had wrote. But yeah, I don't know what Omid is working on these days, but I hope it's something that's going to be very beneficial for him. And I don't know if he's still in California or not, but he had came to the U.S. to try to escape some of the heat that was going on back home. Of course, the tabloids were even harassing his family and everything. So he decided he needed to get away from Salt Island for a while, and he came over here. So I hope it was very productive, whatever he was doing here. Ingrid Seward book was a disastrous flop, only selling, I guess it was 2,025 copies in the UK, and did not register on the US book charts at all. Her hate campaign was a resounding rejection. And let me see, over here you can see My Mother and I by Ingrid Seward. That was printed by Simon and Schuster, exploring the relationship between King Charles III and Queen Elizabeth II. 2,025 copies were sold. Wow. And to think how many days she was on television yammering away about things to do with Harry and Meghan, even though the book was supposed to be about the relationship between Charles and his mother, which is not unusual. They write a book and it's supposed to be about one thing, and instead they make it about something else, meaning Harry and Meghan, and they'll go on television for days talking all that nonsense, trying their best to sell their book. And that's a lot of time just for 2,025 copies. And if you all don't know who Ingrid is, I'll just remind you. That's the one that puts me in mind of a character from Hanna-Barbera. Oh, wait a minute. Where is that at? She's a royal author. And if you ask me, someone who perpetuates some of the worst propaganda, in my opinion, propaganda. Let's see. Okay. This is Ingrid. You know, I would have never known, if it wasn't for Harry and Meghan, I would know the names of these people. But because of, Harry and Meghan, and because of the work I do, I am forced to know who these people are. But that's Ingrid. One might easily confuse her with one of the characters from a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, but don't feel bad about that. Just remember, Ingrid is on the left, right? That's the one with the ridiculous wig. That's the one with the incredibly abundant wig. That's Ingrid. A wig that was borrowed from Charo during the recording of the Carol Burnett show back in the 70s. Let's see, that book flopped worse than her cheeks. Touche, absolutely. That's absolutely the only thing that I could ever compare it to is those jowls, those cheeks and jowls, and anything that flops harder than that really has gone south, no pun intended. But okay. All right, so, I'm trying to take this away. Modern dad, Prince William, is very confident looking after George, Charlotte, and Louis. Well, they've done it again. Kate Middleton and Prince William getting George ready for duty now, so it's not scary. Getting him ready for duty now. Prince William is a hands-on dad and is determined to give his son the best preparation for becoming king, according to royal expert and author Robert Hardman. the Prince and Princess of Wales are particularly conscious. Was that? I can't even barely see that. As they, anyway, that's too small. But so they're getting them ready for the throne. But notice there's somebody missing from the photo. Once again, they have omitted Kate Middleton from the photo. Why are they writing about the future of that family without Kate Middleton? Susie Mom, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being here. Yeah, where's Kate Middleton? This is the second time, and I'm pretty sure it's happened in other places where I just didn't happen to notice it. But why are you omitting the Princess of Wales? Is it the announcement of 2024 that I was alluding to yesterday? Is that why? I am morbidly curious as to why there is no Kate Middleton. Where is Kate Middleton? This is the second time. Oh, I can see it now. Particularly conscientious as to how they raise the next king by making sure he is not scared by the prospect it has been claimed. George X will become king at some point in his life. Robert Hartman wrote, whose is that book? The Making of a King, Charles III. Isn't that what Jobson's book was? The same title? And The Modern Monarchy is out now, and said how his mother and father are trying to normalize this process as much as possible. Yeah, because every kid in the United Kingdom flies around in an 8 million pound helicopter that their father managed to shake down Granny to get. Yeah, every kid in the United Kingdom is flying from one of their dozens of royal properties on a 8 million pound helicopter that their father went and shook down Granny to get in the first place. Yeah, that is normal. That will be normal, right? That's normal. I mean, who hasn't flown around in an 8 million pound helicopter with their dad and their mom? Adrian. Well, let me just say this. Okay, I accept. That's why yesterday I was alluding to that 2024 announcement. It just seemed as though before the announcement was made, something happened. Now, doesn't mean that there wasn't some medical incident. Doesn't mean that. It may have been part of it in some way. But I think that the reaction to the 2024 thing that we were assuming was coming down the pike, that must have been the reaction. Maybe at some point after Christmas, people were starting to talk and say, hey, listen, about this becoming queen consort, I was thinking, and I doubt if there's anyone waiting in the wings to be queen consort. I think it is a possibility that Willie may choose to work alone, and that way he can have all of the pulled pork sandwiches he wants and doesn't have to worry about what anybody thinks about it. He may go down in the history as the first king to step out with a pulled pork sandwich, if you catch my drift. Yeah. He may be the first king to admit to the pleasures of the pulled pork sandwich. They've been fighting for years, Baron. Enough is enough. Yeah. Yeah, it's as though he may have said, listen, you know you're not going to go on this ride with me, right? This is where you get off, right? This is where you get off. You're not going to ever be the queen consort. So maybe after all of the sacrifice that happened with the Middleton family, maybe somebody freaked out because of it or just left, packed up their sweater. Packed up their coat dresses. Yep, packed up their dozens of coat dresses and hopped in one of those Range Rovers and went over to Mother's. Could be. Could be. Oh, well. We'll find out very soon. I was going to finish with that, by the way. So I'll go on to this first. Book telling story of Prince Harry and Meghan's engagement is 10p at Windsor Waterstone after being reduced from £7.99, but the other royal literature is still full price. Harry and Meghan, a royal engagement by Halima Sadat, is on sale for 10p. Book is surrounded, that is, by other full price books or whatever. Let's see, reduction amounts to a 98.7. You know, they didn't have anything better to do but to talk about that. Some sharp-eyed, eagle-eyed hater must have saw that. Now, who knows if somebody just slapped that sticker on there. Or maybe that is the last of the last books, and they just want to get rid of it. Who knows? But it is the act of pettiness that they decided that they needed to share that. However, if you go to their website, you'll see that the book on the Sussexes is still available at the Weatherstone website for its full price of £7.99 or cents a pence. So the book is still there. It's on their website, rather, and it's for the full price. Now, I am going to go out on a limb and say someone was being malicious and just stuck that sticker on there. It appears as though they may have just had that one single book. See how awkwardly it's on that angle, like they opened up the back of it to help it stand up and stand out. I don't even think that there's another book back there. So that was the whole point of it. Ha 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 ha. We embarrassed Harry and Meghan. Ha 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 ha. But still, it's available on their website. So what is the point of it? Anything to be negative to Harry and Meghan, that seems to be the goal. If they think in some kind of way that it will cause embarrassment for them, then they'll talk about it. Otherwise, one could easily go to their Weatherstone website and find that book at the full price. That's it. And I'm sure it's not much of a book. It's just like one of those books you see at the supermarket when they have those special editions of People magazine or something like that. Well, the wedding was back in 2018. So, fine. I would gladly accept that copy of the book at full price or anything else. But who cares? So, sorry. Shaken but not stirred. Audible top title of 2023, A Touch of the Familiar. Several new titles burst through, but tried and true backlist remains audio sweet spot. Anyway, the whole point of it is Spare by Prince Harry crowned #1 in both Audible and Nielsen book scan chart last year. Is also appears in book stats top 20 ebooks for 2023. So Spare by Prince Harry, as per usual, number one. Number one, even though it came out a year ago, number one. Followed by Harry Potter, Atomic Habits, Friends, Lovers, and whatever else. The Last Devil to Die, another Harry Potter. Yeah, so that's it. That's all. Yeah, okay, whatever. Spare by Prince Harry was crowned number one in both the Audible and Nielsen. Yep, same thing. All right, show up, do good. We believe in the power of community as a transformative solution for our collective well-being. I was just saying that this afternoon. So, addressing the social isolation recently resettled women experience around the world and building more inclusive and connected communities. With a belief in the power of connection and the goal of uplifting communities, the Welcome Project supports the creation of programming for women who have recently resettled from Afghanistan. There are currently 11 active welcome projects across the United States designed to foster a sense of belonging through activities including sewing, art, hiking, swimming, photography, storytelling, and cooking. By facilitating women-based programming, the Welcome Project also brings access to critical resources and opportunities that not only support the women participating in the Welcome Project, but also improves the lives of those around them, their family, and their community. I love that. And of course, our Duchess took part in that wearing one of those Archwell Foundation aprons. Oh boy, I bet you all love to get your hands on one of those, right? They have a whole bunch of Archwell merch that we are not privy to, but they do have it. And every so often you'll find one of the Sussexes popping up somewhere wearing their merch. They even have the Archwell water bottles and the Archwell backpacks. Remember the ones they gave to those kids? And the Archwell hats. Trying to see if I can find one of those right now. But yeah, so whenever they open up an Archwell store, we'll be able to buy some of those things. And of course, if they do it as a fundraiser of some sort, win-win. But I wouldn't mind having something with Archwell on it. Was that yesterday I shared that? I can't remember. Let me see. Yesterday, today is the 26th, 25th, 24th. I think it was from the 24th. But yeah, I'll show you the Archwell hat if it's convenient. We'll see. Okay, I don't see it. But yeah, so let me continue to the next one. And right there is a group shot. I have been searching, trying to find our Duchess in there somewhere, but I don't think she's in there. I don't think she's in there. Although she's staring right at me and I don't see her, but I do not see our Duchess in there. Anybody? I don't see her. Okay. Nope. Okay. I'm going to move on. And right here, they're cooking. Archwell Foundation. Very cool. Right? If you're listening, someone at the Archwell Foundation, we want some merch. Now, let's get on to this. I'm going to be very serious now because this is very, very disturbing. But, you know, whatever happens, life will happen. And The Inquirer, which is not a British tabloid, it's an American tabloid. They say right here, King Charles, 6 months to live. Now, to be fair, the Inquirer, the Globe, this is why we don't take these papers serious, is because they will say things that you won't see in a traditional newspaper. And they use the same tactics, but you would never see something like this in one of the British tabloids unless there was some type of approval from the various royal households. But, they have predicted certain things about the royal family. But I just have to say, with all seriousness, that, pancreatic cancer, nowadays, if they can catch it early, there's more hope than ever. But traditionally, when it comes to something like that, it has been, a matter of time, usually like 2 months. So, of course, nobody here wishes anything bad on him. It could happen to anybody. Trust me when I say that. Usually when they find it, it's because they were looking for something else. And so that is why, even though there's been a lot of people saying that, that is why I don't find it impossible, because of that very reason. When they find it, it's because they were looking for something else and it just happened to be there. So, but most people, they don't seem to have any alarming symptoms before it's found out. So it would also explain why they won't tell us what it is. It also explains why they won't tell us what it is, because of how difficult it could be to treat it. So that is probably why they don't want to say. They were forthcoming before, but now they don't want to say. So that tends to lean toward, is that true? Could that be true? Don't know. But I'll say this. I would not begrudge anybody for any type of sloppy coverage with what's going on with Charles and Kate, because the rollout of this information has been very sloppy, very unprofessional. They have not. They have not. They have not done a service to themselves or the public with the way they have spoke about these illnesses. Maria, okay. Lorna Williams says, I had, I don't know who that is. Anyway, had pancreatic cancer. They caught it early. She is now cancer free. See there? It is more treatable than ever. It is more all cancer, I think, at least most of the ones that used to be the death sentence, they're more treatable than ever. So, before, where it was, cut, burn, poison, now they have the immune therapy and such, that they are able to do so much more than what they would have been able to do in the past. So the thing is, we all have to do our part to make sure that there's early detection. Early detection affords a great deal of hope. So, but yeah, so that's what they're saying. And it has nothing to do with the little cartoon that I put next to it. But yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say about it. But yes, very sloppy. They have been very, very sloppy, and they have no one to blame but themselves, because it is so weird the way that they made the announcement about Charles just 90 minutes after the announcement about Kate. Now, either Clarence House was trying to humiliate Kensington Palace, or they were trying to help them. It's hard to know because the true nature of the relationship between father and son and the two households is not really spoken about with the royal reporters. They won't touch it. There's a lot of things that they're not saying. Instead of talking about things that should be discussed, they would rather go after Harry and Meghan because Harry has a news program, an interview appearing on Hulu. That is the hill that they will die on. Is we'll talk about Harry and Hulu. Alex, I'll take Harry and Hulu for 100. Yeah, that's the direction that they're going. So, I don't know. It's hard for me. I don't know. I don't know. I just have to say I don't know because every time I think that I have this figured out, something else will come up. Something else will come up. And with the Inquirer, if you take enough people of a certain age and you keep saying, oh, so and so doesn't have long, well, they do that with a lot of people. A lot of it is just guessing. They don't know for sure. So if it is true, well, I tell you, the direction of history is going to change forever, sooner rather than later. But then again, and also I'm concerned because they said Charles does not want to use conventional treatment, that he's more interested in a holistic approach or something like that. Now, if that's the case, I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I'm just saying that will decide what kind of outcome that he's going to have. That might work for you or against you. Sometimes you think someone is done for, only to find out that they have gone into remission or something like that, or they're cancer free. They can't detect it anywhere. And let's hope that's the case. Let's hope that's the case. Also, not that this is the most important part, but I would really hate to see any disruptions for what the Sussexes are trying to do, because they have had to put things on hold because of things in that family. And, they are free and clear of that place, well, for the most part. And they should not have to do things within the shadow of that institution. The only reason why they have that much pressure is because it's the royal family. And that comes with, being part of that family. But otherwise, I just want them to have a nice open playing field where they can do what they need to do this year, and that they can get some things, done without all of that whispering campaign from the tabloid media. Let's see. Yeah, and what's that guy, JJ, from Talk TV? He also said very clearly that all of this negativity that's coming from the British tabloid media, he called one of his colleagues out on Talk TV by reminding them that, in television production or anything else in Hollywood, it's not assured that you're going to get backing. It's not a certain timetable that is uniform. A lot of these things are hit or miss, and but I'll say this: the way that Harry has been so effective with cultivating a community surrounding the Invictus Games, and given the weight of his personality, And then, of course, Meghan, with all of the knowledge that she has from having grown up in Hollywood, I would say that they have an excellent chance of being successful. They will be successful. And so I'll just say don't listen to those people with all that negativity, because if they knew so much, they would be doing what Harry and Meghan is doing. But because they don't, they're on television talking about them. Like, remember that time when whichever that person was from the was it Janet Street Walker, Street Porter, Janice, whatever her name is. Do you remember that time when she was talking to Denise Welch, and she was saying that okay, maybe it wasn't her, but it was someone who was jealous about the fact that they were able to get into things. Oh, by the way, thank you, Joan Garcia, that they were able to, get through those doors at Netflix, and they were like, oh, I've been in television production for years, and I can't just do that. Well, you're not Prince Harry. You're not Meghan Markle. No, you can't do that. That's not the route that you've taken. You decided to sit on television and promote all of this right-wing stuff. So, when you're part of the right-wing agenda, then you get what comes with that. So that's probably why. Yeah, but it was I thought it was the Porter lady, but maybe I'm wrong. But it was someone, and they were just so jealous because of the things that Harry and Meghan were able to do. But as they say, those who can do, and those who can't sit up there and talk and call a news interview a documentary. Right, and those who can't call a news interview a documentary. That's the difference. So straighten up and fly right. And oh yeah, that one right there, the one with the mop hairdo, the one on the left side. I think it was her. Okay. I found it. So listen, I don't have the screenshot, but here goes.
Even if they lost everything, and whether they deserved it, whatever the case, they've got a lot of money. So yes. I don't think there's a problem in that respect, Jake.
Yeah, should have got shed loads. Tom Bauer is clearly a man who just hates Meghan Markle. That's it. Yeah. I won't go as far as to call him a misogynist because he's not mean to all women, just Meghan Markle. He knows clearly nothing about Hollywood. Stick to the royals, Tom, because you know nothing about how Hollywood works. Just because she's signed to a new agency, he thinks, well, she should be working straight away. It's not how it works. Yeah. The biggest players in Hollywood do not work continually flat out non-stop. Actually, it's the people who are less successful who are trudging and trawling, trying to get everything they can. I'll just very quickly tell you a story. The most successful director of our time, Martin Scorsese, teams up with the most successful actor of that time, Leonardo DiCaprio. For The Wolf of Wall Street, one of the most successful biographies in history, they couldn't find any financing. Have you got the world's greatest director and world's greatest actor in Hollywood? Nobody wants to fund their films. That's how Hollywood is. So if he thinks that they're unsuccessful because they're being paid a shed load of money from Netflix and Spotify, and Netflix have already said it's still the most successful documentary they've ever had on the platform, but they're not successful. He's an absolute idiot. Get in the bin.
We talked.
Did he just call Tom Bauer an absolute idiot? I think he did. And that's it. That's it. And so that's the type of stuff that some of them know, and they either omit it or just lie. They don't want to tell the truth about these things because it doesn't serve their constituents. But it takes a lot to get stuff done. And if you're persistent, if you can argue a good case with people that are looking for projects to back, one love. Harry and Meghan went to a movie premiere that movie has done 100 million, probably more than that by now, of course. And I'm going to contribute some of the success to the Sussexes attending that movie premiere. Of course. I didn't even know the movie was in the works or that it had been made. I didn't know anything about it. But thanks to their presence, $100 million. And that is why the president of Paramount used one of their corporate jets. It was worth everything for him to bring them down there with him. And of course, for an entire week, I don't know, you couldn't even put a value on how much free advertisement that was for the movie. And that's what made a lot of people angry. It's because, well, I'm talking about those not people. I'm talking about the royal reporters. That's why they were so outraged, because it was Harry and Meghan doing their absolute best, shining like the stars in heaven and getting all of this attention, and definitely countering the usual negative narrative that they have set up for them. They went against that. They totally blew all that away. This is why it's good for them to be out. This is why it's good for them to do these things, because it humanizes them. You know, otherwise you only have one type of thing going on all day, every day, and that is vitriol and negativity and all of that hate content. But when you see them out engaging with people and how excited people are at their presence, then it does a lot to suppress that narrative. And also for people who love and support them, you know, you want to see more of them, and it makes it so much easier for us to push back against some of this stuff when we do have material that we can use. So, but that is the social media is a battleground, and it's all about who can shout the loudest and shout the most, and of course consistency, being consistent with the truth helps. There's court cases that are being decided in the court of public opinion, and the courthouse is social media. So, like I always say, don't make it personal and don't threaten anybody. That's very important. Do not get personal with people on social media, and don't threaten anybody. Don't talk about people, mama, and stuff like that. I remember during the presidential campaigns when I would go at it with some of those Trumpers, and I would go into their timeline on Facebook, and like that poor woman, I took her picture and turned her into a pig, added the ears and the snout and everything. But I did take it back off. I put it back on her timeline in the comments, but I did go back and remove it. But yeah, that was a low point for me. Funny, but a low point. Yep, I turned her into a pig. Kind of like that time on Bewitched when Endora turned Darren into a jackass. Kind of like that. So, all right, then. I'm almost done, you all. Cloud Nugget. I don't need to explain this to you. It's not Sleeping Beauty. It's something else. But this is one of those little things from Cloud Nugget, which is always so interesting. And then, of course, there's another one where Cloud Nugget wanted to remind us that sometimes when a relationship is no longer viable, if people are not able to survive their differences, you end up getting yourself another partner, and you even dress them up in the other one's clothes. Or in this case, in the other one's coat dress. So fun, right? Fun. And of course, this is all parody. This is all parody. But thank you, Cloud Nugget. Always a pleasure. Always something interesting. And imaginative, right? Right. So with that, let me see. Am I done? Oh, yeah. I figured I would close today. Instead of a last word, I thought we might have fun with this. Is how cars get their names, right? So if you have to get some sleep or whatever, go on, get out of here. I'm going to be on for a little bit with this, but otherwise I'm done. And thank you so much for joining us. But how does cars get their names? Like, for instance, let me see here. There is the Acura, from the Latin acutus, which means sharpen, right? And is a source of the word accurate, originally pronounced Acura, Acura, Acura. Or how about Audi? A reference to company founder August Horch. Horch means listen in German, and Audi means listen in Latin. So, Audi. And BMW, Bavarian Motor Works, right? Stands for Bayerische Motorenwerk, which means, if you translate it, Bavarian Motor Works. Buick, that's a tough one. Named after Scottish inventor David Dunbar Buick. Can you believe that was somebody's name? Who left his plumbing business to found a company, found the car company. Cadillac, a homage to Anton de la Motte Cadillac, an explorer who founded Detroit. The logo is based on off of his coat of arms. So the logo has changed. There's usually like ducks or mallards or something on there, but the logo has changed from the old days when it had more detail to it. Let me say, Acura is the only in the U.S. and Canada. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. It's actually a car from Honda. Honda has Acura. Lexus is Toyota. And Infiniti is that Mitsubishi? Infiniti. Well, anyway, I bet you it's on here. I haven't actually looked at this yet, by the way. Chevrolet, founded in 1911 by Louis Chevrolet and William Durant. The nickname Chevy merged in the 1930s. Oh, so Durant and Chevrolet. Okay. And then Chrysler, founded in 1925 by Walter Chrysler. His name is German in origin, perhaps related to the word for a spinning top. Chrysler. And Citroën, of course that's French, founded in 1919 by André Gustave Citroën, a French Freemason. And his last name meant lemon, Citroën, lemon, and shares the root with citrus, Citroën. And Dodge, I know that's a name, Horace and Elgin Dodge. And Ferrari, founder Enzo Ferrari. Oh, Latin ferrum, which means iron. Did not know that. Okay, Marshar. I hear you. Fiat. That's that car that Robert Jobson finds it impossible to exit without the jaws of life. Fiat stands for Fabbrica Italiana Automobili Torino which means Italian automobile manufacturer of Torino. Remember, Ford used to have a Torino. Remember that car, the Grand Torino? That's what they had on Starsky and Hutch. And Ford, founded by Henry Ford in 1903, his name comes from the word meaning shallow place or a river where you can cross. Like Oxford. Oxford means to cross the oxen over the river. So anytime you see Ford, it usually means shallow flowing water. Oxford, Ford. Honda, that's some of that old English, I think. Honda, founded in 1948 by Sashiro Honda and Takio Fujisawa. In Japanese, Honda means original field. And the Hyundai is only 2 syllables, Hyundai, comes from the Korean word meaning modernity. The H in the logo is tilted to right to suggest motion. And Infinity is Nissan. I said that right. Infinity is Nissan. An alteration of Infinity created by Nissan team in 1987. The logo shows a road going off toward infinity. And Jaguar starts with SS Cars Limited, but rebranded so they wouldn't be confused with the Nazis after the... Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, that would be awkward, wouldn't it? And of course, Jeep, American military slang coming from the abbreviation of GP, which stands for General Purpose Vehicle. I didn't know that. And Kia, a compound word in Korea meaning rise from East Asia, describing their goal in the global auto market. And Lamborghini, after Federico Lamborghini, who founded the company in 1963. The logo represents the zodiac Taurus. Lexus, name modeled on the word luxury. Oh, that's where they got that from. Okay. And Lincoln, named in honor of President Abraham Lincoln by founder Henry Leland. The logo is a stylized star. Yeah, that is a star, not a cross. And Mazda, named after Ahura Mazda, a Zoroaster something, and also sounds similar to the founder of something Mazda. Okay, that's enough of that one. And then, of course, Mercedes, after Mercedes is something, the daughter of the rich Austrian that is, diplomat who commissioned the car for racing. By the way, the 3 points I'm sorry, they don't have it here, but the 3 points of the Mercedes represents land, air, and sea. I'm a bit of a car enthusiast. So those 3 points of the star represents land, air, and sea. And then there's Mitsubishi. Well, you know that's somebody's name. 3 diamonds in Japanese, both the name of the company logo, and founder Awasaki Yatoro family crest. Okay. And Nissan, contraction of Nihon, Nangyo, which means Japan industry, first abbreviated for the use in the Tokyo Stock Exchange, Nissan. Remember they used to call the Datsun? Nissan didn't think they could sell a car called Nissan in America, so instead they call it Datsun. And then it was Datsun by Nissan, and then finally they just got rid of Datsun altogether. You know you're old if you remember Datsun. And Peugeot, after the influential French family that started producing automobiles in 1889 after decades of making other goods. And Renault, the T is silent, Renault, founded the Renault brothers in 1899, their name from Germanic elements meaning council or rule, Renault. And Subaru, a Japanese word for unite. Oh, I didn't know that. Alluding to the joining of five companies. Oh, 5 stars, 5 companies. It also refers to the constellation in their logo. See that? You have the 5 stars joining with the big star. And Suzuki, founded as a loom company by Michio Suzuki in 1909. The surname rather means bell tree in Japanese. Tesla, well, we all know that one. Nikolai Tesla, named after Serbian-American electrical engineer Nikolai Tesla, in reference to a type of car the company produces. So to honor that amazing inventor, Nikolai Tesla, they named the car after him. I thought that was really cool. And Toyota, founded by the Toyota family, changed to Toyota because that only took 8 brushstrokes, a lucky number in Japanese. Wow. So they named it Toyota because it only took 8 brushstrokes. Oh, that must mean in the Japanese calligraphy, you only have to use the brush 8 times. Got it. I'm sure that's what they mean. And lastly, Volkswagen, which means people car. Formed as a state automobile company by the Nazis in 1937 and given the name People's Car Volkswagen from 1958. VW is from 1958. So the Volkswagen, the People's Car, the body of the Volkswagen was actually designed by Porsche. Yeah, that design comes from Porsche. So that's it, you guys. Wasn't that fun? I'm trying to think if there's anything missing. Oh, I can tell you one. You see the BMW? BMW used to make airplanes. And so what you see is actually propellers. You know how when the propellers spin really fast and it just seems like, it looks like that? So what you see there is actually propellers. They're good, but they left just a few things out of here, I think. Let me see if I could recognize anything else they didn't mention. Let me see. I did the Mercedes, 3 points, land, air, sea, BMW propellers. Audi. The Audi, the 4 rings of the Audi brand. Some people think that means something to do with the Olympics, but there was actually 4 companies that merged to create Audi. So that's why they used the 4 interlocking rings to represent Audi. Let me see if I can find something else. Otherwise, I think that's it. I can't see anything else that's missing, but nope, that's it. I know that the Citroen, that is a chevron pattern. I don't know why they used the chevron for Citroen, but that is a chevron when you see those lines that are bent like that. Okay. And also, I'm trying to think. It was the Hyundai. It also is supposed. I think it was Hyundai that's supposed to look like 2 men that are shaking hands. or maybe I'm confusing that with another company. But I thought that's what Hyundai was. It was like two men that are shaking hands. Maybe it's another company I'm confusing it with. Okay. Yep, that's it. I can't think of anything else. I think that just about covers it. Well, there's quite a few cars that are not here. You notice that. There's quite a few that are not here. Let me see. They had Buick, Cadillac. They didn't include Oldsmobile, right? And I think Olds was a family name, Oldsmobile. They didn't put the Oldsmobile. Okay. Oh, is it Kia? Kia, let me see. Kia, I don't know anything about the Kia. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm done. Rolls-Royce, Bentley. Rolls-Royce, they met at that hotel. Was it in Liverpool? No, Manchester. Rolls and Royce, I think they met at the Manchester Hotel where they discussed forming a car company. I think I heard that on one of the city tours. Shelby, they don't have the Shelby. BMC, British Motor Corporation. Yeah, there's a lot that's missing up here. I've always wanted a Subaru. I thought Subaru was a cool name. And they always have those little quirky cars, Subaru. GMC, General Motor Company, right? Pontiac, Mercury, Geo, etc. Many are knockoffs. Okay, Pontiac, I know that was someone's name. Mercury, God only knows. I guess that's something to do with space. And Geo, I'm pretty sure Geo is a lot like Volkswagen, like just like utility type of car. But Pontiac is somebody's name, I think. And I know there's a Pontiac, Michigan, right? Okay, Pontiac, pronounce Pontiac. Yeah, Pontiac. Let's see. Pontiac had come from Ottawa, leader who fought against British for Fort Detroit in the 18th century. As mentioned above, General Motors would incorporate Native American imaginary imagery, that is, into Pontiac, which would use Native American names for its cars. Oh, yeah, like the Aztec, right? The Pontiac Aztec, the Firebird. That was based on Native American imagery. Yeah, so Pontiac, that is a Native American name then. Huh, okay. Isn't this fun? I like to learn stuff. Thank you, Lex. Yeah, the Ford and Mercury, they don't make Mercuries. I think they got rid of Mercury, Plymouth, and we all know where Plymouth comes from, Plymouth Rock. I don't think that's anybody's name, Plymouth. They probably just wanted something that sounded like it was rooted in America. And did you guys know that the guy that started Ford, the guy that started Lincoln, he's the same guy that started Cadillac. I think the same guy, the guy that designed the first Cadillac or whatever, he also designed the Lincoln, but I think he has sold the rights to it or something like that. But anyway, the Cadillac and the Lincoln, they both come from the same person. Land Rover, yeah, Land Rover. They didn't put that up there either. Oh yeah, don't get me started with there's a bunch of cars that are named after a city like the well, come on, there's so many of them, like Chrysler New Yorker. They're named after cities and provinces and states, like the Dakota, the what else? I mean, there's so many of them. We'll be here all day. Remember the Pontiac Parisienne? They had a Pontiac Parisienne. Instead of calling it the Pontiac Paris, they called it the Parisienne. Or the Le Mans. They had the Buick. No, that was a Pontiac Le Mans. Oh yeah, and I remember the Lincoln Versailles. They had a Lincoln Versailles. And the Cougar, they had the Bostonian edition of the Cougar. And who knows where Impala comes from? I guess the elk, because they used the elk symbol, didn't they? The Impala. They used an Impala for the design, for the logo. And there was a car called the Monaco, right? Didn't GMC made the Monaco? Well, Denise, maybe that's why Charles keeps going to church. Maybe that's why he keeps going to church. You notice that you see him going to church more than ever. Oh, the Pacer. The Pacer. That was a GMC Pacer. The Pacer, the Gremlin was GMC. No, not GMC, AMC. AMC Pacer, AMC Gremlin, and the AMC, I thought they had a car called the Monaco. DeLorean. Yeah, they didn't even mention the DeLorean. Mustang Sally. I think, and the AMG Eagle. Is it AMG or AMC? I think it's AMC, American Motor Company, AMC Eagle. And the Mercury Grand Marquis. You're welcome, Joy and Moore. Let me see here. And you know what? General Motors, they used to sell their engines like the I think the DeLorean had a Chevy engine in it, or was it built on like a Chevy chassis or something like that? But the DeLorean used parts from General Motors. A lot of American car companies would export or even domestically sell their engines to companies right here in the United States or whatever. But yeah, they would sell their motors. I mean, which is smart. You know, why do all that development for a motor when you can just buy something that has already been tested? Of course, it makes the vehicle a little more expensive to, well, actually it's cheaper, because if you had to build the motor yourself, if you had to build all that stuff yourself, imagine how much that would cost. Daewoo, yes, the Daewoo. Saab, isn't that Sweden? A Scandinavian something. Sweden, Saab. Good night, Olive Perry. Good night, John Garcia. Aston Martin. I wonder if that's somebody's first and last name. Aston. I bet you it's a combination of names. Aston Martin. Probably two different people. Yeah, probably two different people. Aston Martin, just like Rolls Royce. And Ford had purchased Aston Martin at one time. Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford. Yeah, predecessors. Oh, wait. That's not right. Lagonda. Do you guys remember the Lagonda? Lagonda was one of the Aston Martin designs. It's called the Lagonda. That's a weird looking car. Aston Martin. Let me see. I know that's a British company. At least it was founded in Britain. I wonder where the name Aston comes from. It says Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford. Oh, well. Say, do you guys know the name of the hood ornament for the Rolls Royce? It's called the, oh gosh, what was it? The hood ornament for the Rolls Royce. It was called it's called, oh gosh, what is it called? Spirit of Paradise? No, Spirit of Ecstasy. Spirit of Ecstasy. Now, for those of you in the UK, you call it a mascot. We call it a hood ornament. But Spirit of Ecstasy for the Rolls Royce, that was a design that was commissioned by Rolls Royce because they didn't like the crap that people were putting on their cars. Lord Montague, the design of the Spirit of Ecstasy was based on his mistress, right? And she must have been a really good mistress because, I mean, if you call it the Spirit of Ecstasy, she must have been good. Anyway, the Spirit of Ecstasy, that's the lady with the flowing, gown and everything. Looks like she's flying. It almost looks like the Nike statue that they have at the Louvre. But yes, the name of it is called the Spirit of Ecstasy. Well, she must have been good, right? And ironically, she died in a car accident, but it was not a Rolls Royce. But she did die in a car accident. Because in the early days of automobiles, people would just order a car built from top to bottom. Like you would order the wheels from here, you would order the tires from there, you would go to a body builder Like, for instance, remember how they used to say body by Fisher? Well, Fisher used to make the bodies and then sell them to General Motors. So that's why they used to say body by Fisher. And if you've ever seen that inside of the door trim of a car, guess what? You're old, because only old people have ever stepped inside of a car and saw that little placard that says body by Fisher. So yeah, that's it. The Fisher company used to make auto bodies. And most of the car companies, like, did you guys know that Studebaker used to make carriages? A lot of car companies originally made carriages. And so the Studebaker, they decided to get into that new business, the horseless carriage, also known as the automobile, also known as a car. Okay, I'm going to tell you one more little factoid before we go. Station wagon. Do you know where that name comes from? Station wagon? Well, back in the old days, they would send a wagon to the train depot to pick up passengers coming to town and their luggage. And those wagons were usually longer than the typical, horse and wagon. So they called it a station wagon, right? The station wagon. And so that carried over to the automobiles. When they made those extra long cars with an extra row of seats, they just called it a station wagon. And they used it much in the same way when you needed to haul a few extra people, but you didn't really need a bus. They used a station wagon. But anyway, that's it. I don't want to talk y'all all night. So I'm going to go. I got a busy day tomorrow, so I need to get going here. Hey, did you guys watch Wendy Williams? I don't want to get into a long conversation. We'll talk about it another day, but I watched it and it was pitiful, very pitiful. Oh, Leslie F., a wood panel car. Very cool. Yeah, they used to have that one called the Ford Woody. The reason why they use wood is because after the war, when there was still a scarcity of material, some automobile makers finished their vehicles with wood rather than steel because there wasn't that much steel available. The steel had to go for the war effort, and there just wasn't much available, but they had all this wood sitting around. And so the old wooden panel cars, they actually used real wood. And so those cars after the war, they became favorites for surfers and, bands and musicians and stuff because they were so big and they could carry so much stuff that, and then after a while, the wood-sided cars became a luxury item. And in the UK, instead of station wagon, they call it an estate wagon, right? They call it an estate wagon because it was like that utilitarian vehicle that you would use on those big country estates. So in the UK, they call it an estate wagon, but here we call it a station wagon. Oh, thank you, Cookies and Cream. Appreciate that. Hey, remember that commercial? Volare, whoa, Volare, whoa, come drive Volare today. Who used to make Volare? Was that Chrysler or Plymouth? I think it was Plymouth, right? The Volare automobile? Yes, it was Plymouth. Yes. Wow. I'm testing my memory today. The Volare. The Plymouth Volare. That was an ugly car. God, that was ugly. It kind of looked like a Ford Maverick. The Plymouth Volare. Boy, I tell you, I'm testing my memory today. Volare. Whoa. Volare. Whoa. The Volare commercial. The Volare commercial. Okay, listen.
Comfort. In a big car, you expect it. Now you can find it in a new kind of small American car. Voila. Beautiful.
Okay, that one doesn't have any words. Let me see if I can find one with some words. Oh, there's Ricardo Montalban with the Chrysler Cordoba with its genuine Corinthian leather seats. The Chrysler Cordoba.
When I traded in my old one, you must have given up something. Yeah, a lot of.
Fairmont? Based with 6-cylinder cars with 6-cylinder engines.
I cannot find one with the words. Volare. Whoa. Volare. Whoa. Oh, you know what? It's a good thing I couldn't find it. That's actually a real song. Dean Martin recorded that. Volare. Whoa. Well, I don't want to get in trouble, so let me leave that alone. And now the Chrysler Cordoba with its genuine Corinthian leather seats. Come drive the Chrysler Cordoba with its Corinthian leather seats. Yeah, I tell you that documentary with Wendy Williams, I feel like this country has turned into a bunch of voyeurs, and to watch something like that is quite off-putting. But I tell you, let it be a cautionary tale for those who need it. It is a cautionary tale. Yeah, very, very sad. Good night, Lit for Sussex. Okay, you guys, I better go too. I got to take a phone call. I'll have to call that person back. But love you guys. I will see you all next time. And remember, when you see our queens, it's time to go. You know what I mean. Where's our queens? There we go. When you see our queens, it is time to go. And you know what I mean. Okay, see you all. Thank you, moderators.